Hello, my name is Allyssa Ackley, and today my presentation is on June 14th, 1940. Dolores Davis is my Nana. She is my rock and the other half of my heart. She was born June 11th, 1940. If I didn't have her, I wouldn't be who I am today. On June 14th, 1940, Auschwitz concentration camp officially had opened their doors. They were the largest concentration camp known to date. They are 3 small camps individually named. One of those was a prison, one was a slave labor camp, and the other was an extermination camp. It was located in Auschwitz, which was a city in Poland that was known for their industrial work. They were located next to a railway. It was easier to transport the prisoners through Europe this way. They would just load them up, drop them off, and they would be right there. There was no questions asked, nothing. Experimental gassing in 1941 was going on. That was unsuccessful, but the most known ways of torture for the prisoners there was gassing, starvation, disease, shooting, and ultimately burning them alive. There was something called the twin studies that was conducted by a man named Joseph Mengele. These were 2 sets. They were all sorts of sets of twins. He would go out and he would capture the twins ultimately, and he would perform blood tests on them. He would take blood from certain twins and just look at it through a microscope. He would inject chemicals into the eyes of one of the twins to see how that would affect them. He would give them shots. One of the twins would get a shot with a certain type of disease in it, and they would see how he would see how they would react to that. They had surgeries with no anesthesia, including organ transplants and amputations, and they ultimately died due to these experiments. And when they did die, he would take the bodies and he would do an autopsy on them to see if there was a difference with the twins' organs or so have you. A man named Rudolf Höss was first in command at Auschwitz, and then second in command there was a man named Arthur Liebenheischel. As the Soviet armies advanced in 1940 and early 1945, Auschwitz was ultimately abandoned. The remaining prisoners were taken on death marches, and these death marches were miles and miles long to wherever they were going, to the nearest concentration camp or to wherever they were going to dispose of the prisoners. If the prisoners could not keep up, they were shot or ultimately starved to death. The sites, ultimately when they were shut down, they were turned into museums, and despite the increased industrial work in Auschwitz, the government decided to keep these open as museums. This affected society in the killings between 1.1 and 1.5 million. 90% of them were Jewish, and the other 7.9 were Polacks. Even though the grounds were filled with such awful, morbid, and inhumane acts, people still, close to millions of people, visit there each year. In 2005, it was recorded that close to 1 million people had visited the grounds, and that increases every year by thousands, hundreds of thousands actually. And most of the people that visit are young people, intrigued to know about really what happened and how they were honestly able to do this. That concludes my presentation today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.